Hello, travelers. Today I'm bringing you an ultimate mean deal Void Meteor Sorcerer based around a sacrificial embrace. Yes, this is an AI generated voice, but you heard it right. Sacrificial embrace. And this is the kind of item that looks super interesting when you check it out in the database, but once you try to build something with it, it just doesn't fucking work, no matter what you try. It's terrible. It's not even outdated per se, because outdated suggests it was good at some point, and this item never was. And it's not just my opinion or something. According to the last Epoch tools, literally no one ever made a build with it. Let me explain why. Sacrificial Embrace comes with some absolutely brutal downsides. First and foremost, the Abyssal Rite mechanic is clunky and hard to scale. You need to crit to gain stacks, but your crits do no extra damage. The crit multiplier is set to 1. And crit multi is how you usually scale damage with crit builds. It's second, even if you do crit, it's not guaranteed that you get a stack. The roll on the gloves can go as low as 30%. Third, the bonus only applies to elemental spells, and then converts their added damage to Void, which kills synergy with most masteries. So what does it offer? For each stack of Abyssal Rite you consume, your spell gains plus 20 flat Void damage and plus 20% Void penetration. That sounds nice, until you realize you can only build 1 stack per crit if you're lucky, and you're consuming all stacks at once. It's hard to scale, hard to sustain, and very few classes have tools to support it. I've wanted to try this item for a while now, and this patch, after it got slightly buffed, I said, screw it, let's go. I spent billions, like literal billions of gold testing dozens of setups. Mana Stacker, Static Orb, Channeled Lightning Blast, even Focus as a nuke. Most were garbage. Focus was okay, actually. But finally, I found a variant that I am at least not disgusted by, a Meteor and Black Hole hybrid. It works reasonably well. We're talking like 12 seconds, Julra kills normal Aberroth under 1.5 minutes, instantly nuking mod packs at 600, 700, 700 corruption and face tank all content except Uber Aberroth. Yes, of course, this isn't the strongest sorcerer build in the game. There are builds that do more damage and that are more tanky, but they usually require chase items such as Red Ring or Shattered Worlds. This build was made basically out of shit and sticks on a 300 million budget. And I absolutely shit you not. This is probably the best Meteor setup you can make, even stronger than Velatria full eat Spacker setups. So yeah. So let's talk skills. Let's start with the core Meteor. We take the World Ender node, which makes Meteor a guaranteed crit as long as you cast it above 400 mana. That solves our stack generation problem. Every Meteor hit has a chance to give us Abyssal Rite. We obviously spec into multiple Meteors. And we also take the Shrapnel node, which generates approximately 1 additional hit per Meteor and benefits from auto crits. And thus, each Meteor cast gives us about 6 to 7 stacks. On the damage side, we obviously take Stardust, which gives Meteor massive scaling from non-fire flat damage, which happens to be Void in our case. Then we have Black Hole. Our version doesn't pull. Instead, it just does raw damage. Black Hole benefits from Abyssal Rite stacks, just like Meteor, and its skill tree gives it a ton of multiplicative damage boosts, which was buffed slightly this patch, by the way. It's up to you how often you want to cast it, so instead of cooldown reduction, you just might want to take some more damage boosts. Utility skills focus spec'd into Null Profusion, so it recovers 40% mana instantly while you have negative mana. Teleport with Mana Tunnel. We don't need the mana refund itself, but we take it for the stun immunity that comes after it. Flame Ward in basic setup. Naturally, you would want to use it while low on mana, especially before you dump your last few hundred of mana into the negatives right before the focus. And that's basically it. I don't really want to cover each and every node, so we'll just proceed to gear. The build obviously centers on Sacrificial Embrace, and with Merchant's Guild, it's very easy to get a good one, but the gear around it is what makes it shine. And obvious choice would be to use Lament of Last Refuge, as it gives pure 100 void spell damage and has a unique bonus for the potential extra 60. But stacking the bonus with Volcanic Ward takes time and is just genuinely unpleasant. So thankfully, there's a better option, Celestial Doom. Yeah, feel free to laugh. Another meme item. How many does this build have? Right? But think about it. The passive stats are very good. 20% cast speed, flat void damage, some ward gen options, and a useless proc what's not to like. The real reason why this staff is good is the unique added mana bonus. The trick with added mana is that it doesn't just raise the max mana cap, but the mana is being added as filled. You spend 100 mana on a spell, the staff gives you back 50 immediately. Then after 5 seconds, this extra mana just disappears. In other words, if not for the cap of 500 added, it would be the same as having all mana costs reduced by the conversion percentage that is stated on the staff. Additionally, added mana is multiplied by your increased percentage, so in reality, you actually get around 1,000 mana instead of 500. So here's the trade-off. Lament is a spike damage weapon. You do more up front, but run out faster and have longer focus downtime. Celestial Doom is a sustain engine. Slightly lower burst, but you get to cast longer and refill faster. In simulations, the average DPS was nearly identical. But it's the better option for consistent damage, survivability, and comfort, especially for long fights or content where repositioning matters. Now, for the rest of the gear, Seed of Yggdrasil is mandatory. It provides a built-in mana before health, but more importantly, it protects our mana with endurance, which makes it a core defensive item in Mom setups. Woven Flesh is just a budget-friendly 3 OP chest, built-in 100% crit avoidance, plus Leech as a backup survival tool. If you can afford something else like Wall of Nothing, do that. We use Ward as a secondary defense layer, so Strand of Souls gives us ward retention and tons of mana spent as ward. Transient Rest gives us triple resistances and a unique mechanic that converts mana to ward when standing still, which synergizes with our high mana pool. Knowledge of an Erased Mage gives mana plus scales spell damage and more ward generation. It's easy to find a good one from the Merchants Guild. And Font of the Erased Rings are also an easy pick here. Lots of mana, ward gen, and some Elamres. And finally, in the Amulet slot, we'll be taking the Helus. Idols just get as much flat and set mana as you can. That's it. Blessings, Black Sun, Spell Leech, Lagon, Mana, Reign of Dragons, all res, Age of Winter, plus Spirits of Fire, armor. And that's pretty much it. So summarizing, this build took a junk tier item and turned it into something viable and unique. Unfortunately, you won't be able to kill Aberroth with it, but it will clear high corruption, monolith content, shred timeline bosses in seconds, and most importantly, it can give you a fresh way to play Sorcerer. And by coincidence, it also happens to be the strongest Meteor build there is. Build planner attached in description. Thanks for watching.